students of class 8. Today we are going to study a life-changing poem named If by Rudyard Kipling. And I am Mrs. Neha Makkar, faculty member of Bhavan's BP Vidya Mandir Ashti. It is written by the famous British Nobel laureate Rudyard Kipling. It is a poem of ultimate inspiration that tells us how to deal with different situations in life and how to be a wise human being. The theme of the poem basically tells us the conditions that we should meet to succeed in life and make this life a happy and beautiful one. The poem is an address of a father to his son in which he emphasizes on certain values to become a wise and perfect human being. Now I'd like to give you a brief introduction of the poet. His full name was Joseph Rudyard Kipling. He was born on 30th December 1865. Although he was born in India, later on he shifted to Britain for his studies. We call him a Nobel laureate because he has won a Nobel Prize in Literature. If we talk about his early life, at the age of 5, he suffered deep feelings of abandonment and confusion because he had a very pampered lifestyle in India. If we talk about his famous works, they include Departmental Ditties and Other Verses, Plain Tales from the Hills, Barrack Room Ballads is an immensely popular collection of his poems, Gunga Din and Mandalay being the main ones. Who can forget his famous Jungle Book, which we have grown up watching, and also Kim. His famous novel includes Captains Courageous. He moved to Sussex permanently in 1902 and devoted the rest of his life to writing poetry and short stories. And If is his most famous poem. Now it's time to go for the explanation of the poem. So let's begin with the first stanza. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. These two lines imply that we should keep calm when other people around us are losing their cool. We should not lose our temperament even if others are blaming us for their fault. Losing the temper does not solve a problem, rather intensifies that. Keeping the head cool makes us think wisely to face those tough situations, and ultimately a solution comes out. If you can trust yourself, men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. The poet tries to convey that we should have the faith and confidence in ourselves, even when others doubt us. Even after that, we should give some importance to their doubt too and try to find out what may be the reason for their suspicion. If there is even an ounce of truth in what they are saying, we should improve ourselves and take the criticism seriously. But we should always remember that we should not get demoralized or disheartened by it. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting. The poet wants to say that we should work hard and wait for the result patiently. We should not get tired by waiting. There are a number of real life examples wherein people have missed big opportunities only by losing their patience. As it is rightly said, haste makes waste, and patience pays off. So the poet highlights the importance of patience here. The next line, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. People may lie about us to others, but we should not indulge ourselves in the lies. In other words, the poet wants to say that we should always remain truthful. It is important to speak the truth even if that hurts us. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. This line implies that people may show their hatred towards us, but we should not hate them. We should show our love and respect to others. We have to accept everyone for the good and bad qualities in them. And yet, don't look too good nor talk too wise. We should not show us as too good a person or talk too wisely with common people, even after possessing such qualities. Having acquired all these qualities mentioned above, people generally feel proud and tend to show off how good they are. But the poet warns us not to go that way. Let us proceed towards the explanation of the second stanza. If you can dream and not make dreams your master. In these lines, the poet wants us to convey that to do something bigger, we should have a dream first. Make dreams your master. By this line, the poet implies that we should not be so attached with our dreams that we are not able to deal with setbacks when we eventually fail. We should dream to reach great heights in life, but keeping the reality in mind. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim, we should be able to think over a matter, but we should not make the thoughts our aim. By this line, the poet implies that overthinking should be avoided. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. So, we all know that life is a combination of success and failure, joy and sorrow, good times and bad times. We should accept both and face both situations with similar treatment. Here, the poet personifies triumph and disaster, capitalizing and calling them two impostors, which means pretenders, deceivers, or cheaters. People become too happy in success and forget the duty at hand. Sometimes they get too complacent also. In short, as success and failure are two sides of the same coin, one should not be overjoyed by success or disheartened by failures. If you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Many a times we find that our speech or statement is distorted or misinterpreted and used in their favor. But we should not lose our temper hearing that. Rather, we should tolerate that, ensuring we have spoken the truth. Because there will always be crooks around us who will try to twist the truth. next line, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. So the poet here tries to convey that we have to hold our nerves even after seeing that a favorite thing that we have built with all our time and effort is broken. Then we have to gather the courage to pick up the scattered parts and build it all over again. To support the view of the poet, I would like to share a short story about the famous scientist Newton, wherein the papers containing his theories were destroyed by fire, and he wrote them all again from the beginning. So the poet wants to say that we should inculcate the same spirit. Now let's proceed towards the last and the most important stanza of the poem, which contains the entire crux of the poem. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. So the poet here tries to convey that time is precious. A minute is filled with 60 seconds. Time or minute is here called unforgiving, as it waits for none and doesn't forgive him who wastes the time. We should utilize every minute of our life in productive work. Wasting time is not something we can afford in a short lifespan. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So the poet here tries to say that if we inculcate the virtues mentioned in the poem, we can win this earth and everything in it. We would become wise in terms of life and making our own decisions. The word man signifies a perfect human being. Rudyard Kipling has addressed this poem to his son. The poet wanted to show his son the right way to be a future leader and a wise human being. But this poem has inspired many people in their journey of life. I hope my dear students of class 8th have got enough food for thought about the values and virtues which one should inculcate to become a wise and perfect human being. Thank you.